So, this is actually I have titled as Kal Aaj or Kal in Hindi, or past, present or future. And you can see the old Hindi movie, Prithviraj Kapoor, Raj Kapoor and Ranbir Kapoor acting in the movie. Similarly, I put my photograph also. That's me, my son and my grandson. So, over the course of the next 3 generations, I would say. At this juncture, I feel privileged and honored to be part of the JCM Shastry CME, because I am what I am because of a man called JCM Shastry. So this are some vintage photographs I've shared here. The top photograph is actually the retirement of Dr. Shastry in 1996. You can see me sitting in the front row with all the alumni of CMC, and then a photo taken later on. And that other photo there with the Swamiji is the JSS Swamiji in Mysore, when Dr. Shastry came for the Southern Chapter meeting in Mysore. And you can see Dr. Gopal Krishnan, the doyen of nephrology from this part of the country, being there. And I also put my gurus who are there in CMC Vellore, who are in that picture. Now, this is again few vintage photographs. We have Dr. Pradeep Deshpande there. You can see Heng Pradeep and me in 1984-83, that is 40 years ago in CMC Vellore. Dr. Hariharan and some of my colleagues from CMC, Dr. Satyanarayan Raju, again this from this part of the world, who was trained with me. Now, a few of us nephrologists in 1980 got together, and the idea of forming a society was there by Dr. Talwalkar. He wanted a non-political organization, so we don't have in our association any president or anything like that. We call it convener. We used to share some difficult cases. We used to meet every month in different hospitals. And the actual title of Father of Nephrology for my state should go to Dr. Talwalkar, Nandakishore Chintaman Talwalkar. Dr. Talwalkar came to Bangalore in 1979, and he started the Bangalore Kidney Foundation. And that is Young Talwalkar, Young me. Talwalkar was a handsome man. In fact, Dr. Mani would call him Tall Walker, because he was tall and he was walking all the time. So he was called Talwalkar or Tall Walker. That's Talwalkar there in early days in Bangalore. And if you see here, we were very fortunate in 1986 to organize the first nephrology meeting of its kind in my state, the Southern Chapter meeting. And I must thank Professor Amaresan. At this juncture, I think we should pay homage to Dr. Amaresan. We just heard that he's passed away. It's really a coincidence that the man who started the Southern Chapter, he should pass away just at the time when this conference is going on. It's something, a coincidence, I would say. And I was very fortunate that he helped me to run the conference in 1986. And we were on the front page of Deccan Herald, one of the famous papers in newspaper. You can see Dr. Amaresan and Dr. K.V. Rao from US. And the bottom photograph is Dr. Christopher Black, who was also one of the guests of honor for the conference. You can see Christopher Black, Mrs. Amaresan, Mrs. Black, and that's my wife nearly 40 years ago. So these are all some nostalgic photographs which I'm starting. Now, if you look at the timeline of the various meetings we organized in Bangalore, the Indian Society of Organ Transplant, 1992, I organized. The first ISN meeting, 1998, Dr. Fadke, Dr. Lloyd and me, we organized. Then we organized the first peritoneal dialysis society meeting, first of its kind in 1997. The hemodialysis meeting, first in Bangalore, was 2006. Dr. Balal and Kishore Babu were there. Then pediatric meetings by Dr. Fadke. So these are some of the milestones. And again, the 1996, the Southern Chapter meeting was held in Mysore. I'm sharing a few old photographs just for nostalgia. You can see Dr. Shastry, Dr. Gopal Krishnan. Then you can see Dr. Jayakumar, who's here sitting somewhere, along with Gurudev. And down Young, Dr. Sampath and Gurudev. And those are the inauguration of the Southern Chapter meeting in Mysore, 1996. Then these are again some vintage photographs. You can see Kashi, you can see Girish. And just to share some of my thoughts on the origin of nephrology in Karnataka. Then this again, we had a transplant sports meet in Bangalore, and Dr. Talwalkar is one of the chief guests, and you can see Dr. Rana in the last slide, in the slide there. Now, if you go to the timeline of dialysis, actually Ravi Raju was giving the timeline of dialysis in state. Actually, the dialysis in Karnataka goes to way back to 1962. Dr. Jairam, he was a surgeon urologist. He was actually sent to Germany, and few machines were procured by the government at that time. But for some reason, the machines came in. You know how all governments were. They buy machines, but nothing happens. So the machines were there, but the dialysis never started. But actual dialysis first dialysis was started in Manipal in 1971. And later on, other centers like St. John's started. In fact, I joined St. John's in 1985 under the urology department. the nephrologist under the urologist. The urologist has always been dynamic. As I was talking to somebody, they were in fact in my state, Dr. H.S. Bhatt, the pioneer urologist, he himself used to be doing peritoneal dialysis till Dr. Talwalkar joined him in 1979. For a long time, till 79 to 85, where there were very few nephrologists. In around 85, we had a few nephrologists who joined, and we started dialysis in various places. I was very fortunate in 1985. I joined the Ramaya Medical College, and I could start a kidney transplant program in that place. I was joined by my other colleague, Dr. Srinivas, who was in USA, Dr. Shiv Kumar, and in the command hospital in Bangalore, the Air Force Hospital in 1984, Wing Commander S.J. Singh, he had trained from PGA Chandigarh, and he started the dialysis unit there. And I was very fortunate to have Dr. Siddharaj, late Dr. Siddharaj, from PGA Chandigarh, who joined the government, and he was the first government nephrologist to start dialysis in the Victoria Hospital in Bangalore. Now, if you go the other timeline, again, it's my own story, how we started in Malya Hospital. Then in 1991, my good friend Dr. Balal, he came back from US, and he started the dialysis and transplant unit in Manipal in 1991. Then we had chain of dialysis units in other places. In 1998, away from Bangalore, Dr. K.C. Prakash, who is now in Chennai, many of you may not know, he started his career in Mangalore as a nephrologist. Then Dr. Gurudev was the first nephrologist outside of Bangalore to start in JSS Medical College in Mysore, a dialysis and transplant program. Now we have many DM and DNB programs in Karnataka, and we are very fortunate that other states have helped us, like be it Tamil Nadu or from CMC Vellore or PGA Chandigarh or Bombay. They have helped us to train nephrologists. Now this again, the old 1971. This is actually, if you see the photograph here, is Dr. T.M.A. Pai's son, Panduranga Pai. In fact, 1971, I joined KMC Manipal as a first year medical student, and his son, Dr. Panduranga Pai, he was on dialysis there. That's how it started, dialysis was started there. And this again, same, Dr. Panduranga Pai getting dialyzed in Manipal. He is making his own dialysis machine and organizing the dialysis. Then this again stores back to Dr. Mani and the story of nephrology in Karnataka. Dr. Talwalkar started nephrology is because of Dr. Mani. We had a patient, Dr. Bapat, who was an Indian Institute of Science scientist, and he had kidney failure, and he was a patient of Dr. Mani. And Dr. Mani said that since Karnataka didn't have dialysis, Dr. Talwalkar was trained with Dr. Acharya in Bombay. He was sent to Bangalore, and that's how the Bangalore Kidney Foundation came into being in 1979. And this again, after that, my own story, how we were running the dialysis and PD unit in Bangalore. And the story of intervention nephrology, again, Ravi Raj would put a slide of a AV shunt. I would say the AV shunt was the first interventional procedure we nephrologists started doing. And I was very fortunate. My article on AV shunt was published by Dr. Ken Abrio. He is the past president of the Intervention Society of Nephrology in USA. And you see the other picture, Adrian Secura. Adrian, 25 years ago, joined as a young trainee under me. He spent a year in dialysis. Then I sent him to Ken Abrio to get trained as an interventional nephrologist. And it is tipped now that he is going to be the next president of the Intervention Society of Nephrology in USA. Now, if you go back to the advance in dialysis, I must give a lot of credit to Dr. Balal. You can see Ravi Shankar in the photograph. Dr. Balal and team have done a lot of work in starting various dialysis units, and one is called the mobile dialysis unit. This is a mobile dialysis unit. He, along with Balal, Dr. Vishwanath, Dr. Kishore Babu, G.K. Prakash, Sanjay, they're all there, and they've done a lot of work. And Dr. Balal is probably credited having starting the first cadaver transplant program in Karnataka, and he was also the first person to start a training program in Karnataka. We never had a training program in Karnataka till Balal started the DNB program, and we have trained a lot of nephrologists. Now, again, some statistics on our own experience on what are the causes of CKD. Diabetic CKD is 50%. Then we have other causes. I won't go much into detail. Transplant again, first transplant 40 years ago in Lakeside Hospital. Now we have many transplants. We have disease donor transplant going on. What made the difference is this drug, in my experience, called cyclosporin. So I call it before cyclosporin, BC era, and after cyclosporin, AC era. And I think this drug I learned from Dr. Tyagarajan, my senior in Chennai, how to use it. And because of this, we were having, we could do what is called unrelated transplant. And this is the protocol I was using in my transplant procedure. This is a common protocol which is still used now, the TAC, MMF, and prednisolone, but I prefer TAC, ASA, prednisolone, which is my common treatment protocol. We are getting what is called medical tourism, patients from all over the world. But I must tell you a few seconds I must spend on this incident, so-called kidney scam, a watershed era in 1995. in 1995, all of us in Bangalore, Karnataka were accused of stealing kidneys. They said thousands of villagers came to Bangalore and all the kidneys were exported to Saudi Arabia. And one of our colleagues, senior nephrologist, was arrested. And I must give credit to the southern chapter. Dr. Gopal Krishnan, who was the chairman of the southern chapter, Dr. Nammal was secretary. They flew down to Bangalore, and the commissioner of police at that time, you can see me and Dr. Balal trying to explain to the commissioner of police that we were not stealing kidneys, we were doing our job. Fortunately, the commissioner of police was a Telugu-speaking man called Srinivasulu. So Dr. Gopal Krishnan landed, spoke to him in Telugu, and told him, my boys have not done anything wrong, please don't do any harm to them. And that's how the whole story changed, and we could come out of this in a credible way. We could go ahead and do our work. But look at the impact of that one episode. It had the impact on the whole country. The Organ Transplant Act, it's called 1994. It is 1984. 94. It was not passed in 94. It was passed in 95 because I would say of Karnataka, and maybe I am also responsible. Look at the number of transplants. At one point of time, in 1994, we were doing about 200 transplants in one center. It dropped down to 60, and still we are not caught up because of that one watershed era, because of that one accusation. Now this again, after that, we became famous. The DG of police himself became a patient, and we could salvage our reputation after that. And some of the success stories of transplant, I won't go into much details, how transplant can be successful. This is my own story, trying to blow my own trumpet. I won't waste my time. But again, I think legal impact in Karnataka has had a very great impact. If you look at the legal studies, most of the cases are related to transplant. If you do doctor arrested is invariably a nephrologist or something connected to the transplant. And we have done against blood group, without blood, all these things in transplant. But one of the important things which keeps coming again and again is whether we should give incentives to transplant. I was invited to Singapore on an Al Jazeera debate with Jeremy Chapman, and we were discussing how to go about, how to legally incentivize the transplant process and organ donation. Now, what is the future? Future is very difficult to predict, but I think cadaver transplant, I must give credit to Dr. Fadke. He has done a lot of work on this. He started the cadaver program. And I would say, if you look at this picture here, Telangana leads in cadaver transplants. We are always follower of Telangana. Karnataka is second. That's why Ravi Raju, I think, spoke ahead of me. I'm next to you. And this is the early stage of cadaver transplant, where actually I had to take the kidney in my own car. We didn't have anything called green corridor. The kidney had to be carried in my own car, and that's how cadaver transplant was done. Now, this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to promote organ donation by talking to religious heads and how to go about various religions, how the religious heads can influence us. Now, what is the future of nephrology and transplant? The future is not Bangalore. That's what I'm happy. The future is other cities. Look at Gulbarga. My colleague, Dr. Manjunath Shetty, trained by Ravi Shankar. He is actually doing a lot of interventional work. In fact, Manipal Hospital, our DNB students are going to Gulbarga to get trained in interventional nephrology. That is something amazing. Then look at Bijapur. Dr. Madraki has done his own transplants. Then we have Belgaum, we have transplants. So away from Bangalore, that is the future of nephrology in Karnataka. Then look at Venkatesh Muger, my colleague from Hubli. Now he is running a DM program, 2 centers, cadaver transplant, doing amazing work. Then in Karnataka, Dr. Girish is running the first training program, first in the world, he tells me, recognized university degree, a fellowship in interventional nephrology. And you can see Girish, and you can see actually young Dr. Sampath, Sampath's son Dwaraknath, who is actually doing a fellowship there. That is important. Now, stem cells is another thing which is coming up. My colleague Dr. Balal is chairman of a company which makes stem cells, but he says that is not going to be the future for transplant or nephrology. There's future in other departments. Now, going back, what is the future in my own state? It is the women power. The women in my state are doing a lot of work. You have Lija Joseph doing a lot of work in Jeevan Sarthakate for organ donation. And my own team, if you see there, I have all young nephrologists, ladies who are helping me to run the program. This is a women in nephrology meeting. Only me and Dr. Balal, the only men there. All the other powerful women nephrologists, including from this state. Then we have social media. Karnataka is very active in social media. Like Arvind Kanchi, Maitri, Kritika, they're all doing a lot of work in social media because that is going to be the in thing in promoting knowledge and also helping people to disseminate knowledge. Now look at the other thing which we made a book, thanks to Georgie Abraham. We wrote a book in this called Namo and Kidney Care, and my colleague Anaga was there. She has done a lot of work, and the biggest chapter in this on Karnataka. How Karnataka actually is following the Telangana model. We are inspiration for us. And it's not just the Modi model. Recently, Dr. Siddaramaiah, the new chief minister, has done a lot of work. He has started 800 new free dialysis units, CAPD free. These are also, so whichever government, whichever be, there's no politics in this. They want to help the patients, and that is an inspiration for us. Now, what is the healing touch? If you see that picture, a lot of people ask me, what is the role of a nephrologist in transplant? You can see me there 35 years ago, actually praying for urine. I think that is one of the things which nephrologists have to do in this modern day practice. Now with this, I would like to conclude. The Association of Karnataka has come a long way, just a few handful of nephrologists. Now we have many brilliant nephrologists, but the future, I keep saying, is not in the main city of Bangalore, but it is in other small towns. And I'm proud to say that nephrology in Karnataka, we work as a group, we have no politics, we have no ego, and I'm proud to be part of that. And I'm proud that Ravi is sitting here. Thank you very much. God bless. Take care.
Thank you.